I'm Dalton Johnson, and today I'm privileged to have someone whose voice you might be familiar with, Katie Leigh, or you may know her better as Connie Kendall in Adventures in Odyssey. Adventures in Odyssey recently aired its 1000th episode, a milestone achievement, and Katie is here with us to talk about the show, how it's changed, and how it's impacted fans. Hello, Katie. How are you doing?
Hi, Dalton. I'm great. Thank you for calling.
You're so welcome, Katie. And, it feels surreal talking to someone who I grew up listening to as a child and someone I even listen to now.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Do people mistakenly call you Connie in interviews from time to time?
Yes, they do from time to time, yeah.
Yeah, again, it's just an incredible privilege to be chatting with you, Katie, and thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule.
Well, it's pretty exciting hitting 1,000 episodes,
It is. I mean, I don't know any show that has run for 1,000 episodes or more.
Yeah, I guess if you do it that way, if you go by years, I suppose there's some shows that have run more years than we have. I don't know. I don't know about Unshackled. You have to look that up.
Now, you've done other voice work before. Was voice acting something you always wanted to get into?
Not really. I hadn't always dreamed about it. I think I was aware of, I loved watching cartoons growing up. I loved the radio. I loved imitating people, but I never really knew about voice acting until I got out of high school and I was in college, and people suggested I might want to go into that field because they thought my voice sounded unusual for a 19, 20-year-old. So that's how I looked into it. Thought maybe I could, make extra money. So I got somebody to help me make a demo and to try it out. And you know what? It just stuck. It was something I really enjoyed doing and learned on the job.
It's kind of funny how God places things on our heart that we totally don't expect, and then he uses them.
I mean, I always encourage people to, do what they feel like sounds like a good idea, because we don't always know the purpose. I took improv classes, and so I did improvisational theater, which when I started voice acting, turned out a lot of voice actors were improvisational actors. So, I didn't know that was sort of a good foundation. When I did it for other reasons. I studied broadcasting. I learned how, I got my degree in broadcasting, which of course helped, especially nowadays when we have our own studio. So a knowledge of recording is helpful too. So all the things that we do in our life, I think, leads us, or, we get this aha moment at some point where all the things that we're good at and we like turn out to be something we can do for a vocation.
So cool. So how did you get started with Adventures in Odyssey then?
Well, I was working as a voice actor, and I was a Christian, and I was listening to Christian radio and listening to Focus on the Family broadcast when they aired a family portrait episode, and I recognized some of the actors, and I thought, wow, they're using professional actors. I want to be a part of it. I happened to be in the same town as Focus on the Family when I heard it, and I went to a phone booth, found their address, drove over there, knocked on the door, gave them my reel-to-reel, and said I would like to work with you guys. And that's how I met Phil Lawler and Steve Harris, and they had me do some stuff, and we liked each other. And when they developed Adventures in Odyssey, they said, we have a part for you we'd like you to play. Pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible to hear how God opened this door for you. And did you ever think at the time that Odyssey would air 1,000 episodes?
Oh, no. No, I was surprised when we did our third year of recording. I just surprised we were still doing it. It was, because you kind of think people are going to make so many and then just keep re-airing them, and not keep creating new content. And I didn't, there wasn't even a part for me when I met Phil Lawler and Steve Harris. It's just, and that's why I'm kind of an action-oriented person. Just pursue things, and I always pray God will close the door if it's not a good idea. And, you know, just meeting them made all the difference. I really think that meeting people is a big part of building your career and creating opportunities. But no, I never expected it to go this long. I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy for me too. I remember when my parents were young, just having kids, they would buy the Odyssey cassette tapes, and you used to buy 6 cassette tapes in a bulk, and so that's how they first started listening to the show as a family. And I remember those cassette tapes coming out when we would go on long car rides.
How many Odysseys does it take to get to your destination, right?
Yes.
Well, thank your parents for me.
I will. I certainly will. Now, kind of thinking about the beginning of the show, how has it changed, or maybe even at all?
Well, I think the basic idea of the shows hasn't changed at all. But certainly characters have come and go. New characters got introduced, you know, over the years. It did change as far as how often we record. When we started, a couple years, I think we recorded every week. Well, the first year we did, and you know, it was every week, and then now we're down to 4 times a year. They'll fly out because they moved to Colorado, so they'll fly the staff out, and we record a bunch of shows in a week. And they don't put as many albums out. They haven't. I think they might change that. But they went from like 12 episodes in an album to 6. So that kind of stuff, you know, technical stuff has changed. The actual show itself, I mean, there's been differences in, you know, the introductions of the shows have changed. The wrap-ups or wrap-arounds or whatever they call them. That's Chris Anthony Lansdowne does that. Those might have changed over the years. We used to not say who the actors were, but now they give us credit in the shows. But the shows themselves, I think, have been pretty consistent, which is why our fans have been consistent.
So definitely technical things have changed, but, you know, I want to touch on what you said about the fans. I think what fans really love about the show is that episodes are realistic and parents and kids alike can apply it to their everyday lives. And speaking of fans, you got to interact with them at the One Grand Party at Focus on the Family in August. What was it like attending the event and seeing just a fraction of the thousands of Odyssey fans?
It was absolutely surreal. The Focus on the Family did an amazing job of creating an all Odyssey environment all over the campus. They had activities, they had breakout demonstrations, meetings with the writers, demonstrations of sound effects, and, you know, we had autograph sessions where we met people, and just walking around, we met people. I went down to Wits End and made some ice cream, handed it out to people, it was just so much fun, and the show itself was so perfect. It was just perfect. The script was great, and we had live sound effects. We had John Campbell playing music live. It was just an incredible production. I don't think they'll ever be able to reproduce how fantastic, what a great show they did. It was amazing.
Yeah, sounds like it. My goodness.
Sorry you missed it.
I know. Should have flown out to Colorado. Next time, if you guys have a big event.
Well, people can watch it if they have the Adventures in Odyssey app, where you can access all the episodes. They put it out there so people can watch.
Okay, well, we'll have our listeners download the Adventures in Odyssey app and take a listen.
You can see it. It's actually video.
Oh, actually, video. Whoa, okay. Fancy. All right. Speaking about episodes, this is a difficult question, but over the 1,000 episodes of Odyssey, which episode or episodes are your favorite?
Well, that's easy to answer. The next one.
That's a good answer.
Well, you're a listener. Tell me what you enjoy.
Oh, man. Oh, so many wonderful episodes, but the episode that I love the most, or one that sticks out in my head, is the one with the Washingtons, where they're scrambling to get ready for church on
Oh,
time.
Sunday morning. Yeah,
Yep.
was it Sunday morning scramble or something like that?
Yes, yes. Oh, I always get a kick out of it whenever I listen to it.
That's pretty realistic, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, yes. I felt like they were recording my family on a Sunday
Yeah,
morning.
so you're not, unusual, pretty typical Sunday morning.
Yeah. I know my family, we enjoyed the Novacom saga.
Yes, we did too. As a matter of fact, my son played Cal in the Novacom saga.
Really?
Yep.
How cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's a real family aspect to Adventures in Odyssey. How would you describe the camaraderie around the cast and the production staff at Odyssey?
Well, it is a very family-like atmosphere. We all know each other, over the years pretty well. We've gone through a lot of, things that have happened in people's lives, dramatic things we've shared with each other, death, birth. Probably we all have each other on our telephones, the cast and crew. We talk to each other. We love being with each other, and we look forward to every time we record. It's when the show started, I told you they kind of wrote the part for me, and when they called me, when they were finally ready to do it, I had just given birth to my son, Adam, who played Cal. And I said, just 3 days before that, I said, I can't come to the studio right now. I just had a baby, and you're going to have to get somebody else. And they didn't, so thankful for that. And they called me 6 weeks later. They said, well, can you come now? And I said, well, can I bring my baby? Because they were kind of far away and, really attached to your first one. And no offense to all my other children, but anyway, it was a new experience. And they said, well, this is focus on the family. I guess you can bring him. So he came in his little car seat, and that's how we recorded the first episode.
Wow. I just love hearing those stories about how the cast and the crew and the production staff have just become like a family.
Will Ryan and I were best buddies. We worked on a lot of shows together besides Odyssey. We did just a lot of cartoons, the Gummy Bears, Dumbo Circus, Teddy Ruxpin, a lot of things. And then, of course, we created our own show called the Tell You Later Show because we used to get together pretty regularly. I also performed with his band, the Will Ryan and the Cactus County Cowboys. And we have a show called Tell You Later. People can watch and see us in person interacting. Will used to sort of joke that we were nothing like the characters we played on Odyssey, but you can judge for yourself.
Obviously, I never got to meet Will Ryan, Katie, but I did listen to the recent episode that honors him and the many years he played Eugene Meltzner on the show, and I'll admit, I got choked up just listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, not only do we feel like family, but we feel like family. We feel like our fans are family, and I think fans who listen to the show feel like they're part of Odyssey. I mean, you wouldn't get so emotional if you weren't attached, right?
Absolutely. That's one thing that Adventures in Odyssey has done wonderfully over the years. It has such a deep relationship with each listener. I mean, like what you said, it's like fans are a part of the town of Odyssey. And kind of staying on this point, how have you seen the Lord work through the show and impact listeners?
Oh, my goodness. That list would be endless. I meet people who, when I do meet people, and they share how maybe it brought them back to the Lord, an episode that they heard when they get older, gave them guidance. That's such a big general question. There are kids who listen, who, like a Make-A-Wish Foundation, and their dream is to go to Odyssey, which, doesn't exist, but they'll come out to focus on the family. It means a lot to them because especially kids who are ill, they'll listen to a lot of episodes, right? Because that's what they're able to do. I know that Chris calls a lot of fans personally for different reasons. So I know that that makes a big impact on them. They know that we care about our listeners.
You know, it's amazing to think about how God has used just a simple audio drama.
It really is, and we have no idea. We can't second guess. We just keep, and I don't write the scripts, I just read them. So the writers are truly, have been inspired to do what they do, and everyone's really dedicated to doing an A-plus production.
Yeah, we always think about the voices or the characters, but we don't really think about the production staff. They kind of sometimes get overlooked a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I think Odyssey has consistently is just great writers and, of course, great music as well.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very thoughtful. Even though it's been going on forever, they pay really close attention to the sound effects. I think it takes about 3 months to produce a show. It's not like we just record it and it's ready to air.
Yeah, I mean, it does take a lot to get a production together, to make sure it sounds right, and to make sure all the technical things are correct. Are there any final thoughts you want to share with our listeners before our conversation ends?
Well, I just really appreciate everybody who listens, and when sometimes the focus on when they come out to California, they'll bring us some letters that people have written. Nowadays, people find us, through the Facebook or, my website, KatieLeigh.com. If they're interested, I have a Connie Kendall that I make that smell really good, like chocolate and raspberry ripple. I have a new book out called The Itty Bitty Book of Codependency, which is a comic book. It's, got drawings and little clips, which is a fun read for anybody who's interested in the topic. The Tell You Later show on YouTube and Patreon, where there's a lot more content. We have a family of patron supporters who like the show, and I started that with Will. So, like I said, if anybody wants to see what we look like together, and if anybody watches Answers TV, I'm the voice of Lily for Lily's Lab, and a new 4D experience coming to Pigeon Forge and Branson, Missouri, if they go out there for vacation. It's called Truth Traveler, and I'm the voice of the robot Pod in that.
So it sounds like people will not be able to miss you in any sphere.
Yeah, and I love to come out to, any events. I don't know if people know this, but especially when Will was still alive, Phil Lawler and Will and I, we used to do what we called Fort Blanket Review and bring live radio type shows to churches or schools that wanted it. So we're all available to, come to special events, be guests, do meet and greets, share our stories. The best part of being at this point in our show is meeting the fans.
Well, for me as a fan, I can tell you it's a treat getting to talk with someone who I grew up listening to and who I still listen to today.
Good. Yay. You are loyal and precious to us.
Oh, well, thank you, Katie. Yeah, it's really funny. My on-air shift, there's a 30-minute break for Odyssey every single weekday. So on my break, I listen to Adventures in Odyssey. I like to say I get paid to listen to Odyssey every day.
Well, that's great. And, I'm glad that you still enjoy it.
Absolutely. And I know I'm not the only adult who still enjoys listening to Adventures in Odyssey. And again, I just want to thank you, Katie, for your time. And it means so much that you take time to call in to Psalm FM.
Well, every single listener means a lot to us. And I want to just emphasize that Odyssey's not just for kids. And I'm glad that you're saying what you're saying. It's a family show, and there are adults who love listening to it. It's not just for kids.
Amen to that. Well, Katie, I hope you enjoyed our chat.
I did. Thank you, Dalton.
Yes, thank you. Have a wonderful day. I know you're traveling next week, so safe travels next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be in Pennsylvania at a fundraiser in Ephrata doing a live performance there. So if anybody happens to know somebody out there who wants to come see the show and help, for this fundraiser, we're going to have ice cream and live script reading, you can find the information on my website, katieleigh.com.
Well, I might have to get a ticket out to Pennsylvania then.
Come on out. We'll say hi. It'll be great.
Well, Katie, thank you again so much for this interview, taking time, and just hope you have a wonderful day. And it's been an honor and privilege just talking with you.
Same here. Talk to you later.